Om Shanti. In today's Murli, Baba is giving a lot of shrimat about how we should speak. And Baba today says to throw stones at one another, that is to speak bitterly to someone and hurt that person in that way, is very bad behavior. It causes a lot of damage. And I was just thinking, what makes us speak bitterly to someone else? It is always ego, because you always speak bitterly to the one you think of less than as yourself. So when I think less of somebody and I think more of myself in vis-a-vis them, then I choose to speak bitterly there. But the thing is, even if you think less of somebody, the relationship that you are in is definitely giving you something. So let's take a very simple example. So there is this brother and he is into business, and he was telling me that when my employees are not driven enough and they are not passionate enough about the work, and because I have been very industrious all my life and I started this business from scratch, and because I am very passionate about this business, I feel that the employees that I have, they are not equally driven, and I think that that's not right or good of them. And then I shouted them and I'm bitter about it. And so then I asked him, so did it help? Did they start getting passionate? And did they start working better? And then he said, no, that's what, even if I've been bitter and I've shouted, then they have not started working better. In fact, if I can say so, I'm not even sure that they wouldn't leave me at the earliest opportunity. So the first opportunity they would get, they would leave me and my business and go and find work somewhere else. So why I'm giving you this example is that even if you think less of somebody, that somebody that you are thinking less of is in a relationship with you, whether it is the relationship of a junior or a senior, or the maid and the master, or the relationship of a employee and a boss, whatever is the relationship. But that relationship in which you think you have the upper hand and in which you're speaking bitterly, you must understand the value of that relationship and understand that although you think less of them, they are very important, and every soul is important. And I'm not even going to the fact that every soul is Baba's child or something, but even from a very selfish point of view, you have to understand that every soul matters. So if you're losing your temper on somebody, or you're getting bitter with your words, you must understand that that relationship is giving you something, and that relationship is very important. And then when you are using bitter words, however much you justify it, sometimes we will argue day in and day out that the words I used were right, and I didn't say anything that is not true. I spoke everything that was true, and that person is really not doing the work properly, or that person is really making mistakes, or he is in the wrong totally. But however much you justify why you did it, the simple law is bitter words hurt. And when you use bitter words, even when you think you are entitled, even when you think you're right, they damage. They do a lot of damage outside, they do a lot of damage in the soul that the word is being spoken to. And I do not know how much we are aware of it, but the damage, the hurt is very huge. Because when bitter words are spoken, and it is always said, that when you hurt somebody with a knife, then you can see the scars. But when you hurt somebody with words, you can't see the scars, but the damage is very real, very profound. So Baba says that one thing you must understand is, whatever reason you may give, you may say that I'm entitled, I'm right, I have the right, whatever you say. But if you're using bitter words, if you're using bad behavior towards children, towards people who are working for you, because that's where we use this. We only use it where we afford it. So if we afford to use bitter words where we know that person, when we think less of that person, we calculate that they are in a position not to retaliate immediately. So when we are using that bitter words, even though you think you're very smart in the head and you've calculated that there won't be any damage here and they can't retaliate immediately, so you choose to subdue them or engage in bad behavior. When you do that, you are hurting the soul, and that hurt is causing damage, and one has to be very aware of it. And then this damage is creating a karmic, it is creating a karma for which we will suffer. So damaging a soul is a karma for which I will have to pay. And Baba says that by throwing stones at others, you have become stone intellects. So Baba says that those who use hurtful words for others and they hurt others, their intellect gets damaged. Their intellect becomes a stone intellect. And they will suffer because of this karma. And the worst form of suffering is losing your buddhi. And Baba in the Murli says very clearly today that the words, when we throw stones in the form of words at others, then our intellect becomes a stone intellect because of that. And this is the karmic philosophy that Baba is teaching us. And one must be very aware that if I lose my intellect, if I lose my buddhi, then everything is lost. My buddhi becoming patthar buddhi is the worst. And I will tell you one experience. So I was just sharing the experience of a brother who is into business, and he told me that I get angry, I use foul language, I use words which hurt others, and I do all of this. And then I told him that you've come to the center and you look like someone who has understood the damage that this kind of karma causes. And what is the damage that you have understood? So that brother shared very nicely that when I was young, As I told you, I was very passionate about work. I have a very dynamic personality, and I had this amazing power where whatever I thought got manifested. And whenever I had a determined thought, I could put that into execution and I could achieve success in that. But now all that is lost. My calculations don't go right, my decisions don't go right, and I can understand that there is something wrong. There is something that I have lost. And precisely Baba is saying that in the Murli today. So, when we lose our purity, when we lose our spiritual strength, when we lose our divinity through these actions that we perform through thought, word, and action. So every soul is a very powerful soul. So purity is my power, and I am a pure and powerful soul in essence. But when I come into under the influence of vices, I come under the influence of lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, then I engage in thought, word, and action which is not pure, which is dictated by lust, which is dictated by ego, which is dictated by anger. And I told you that speaking bitter is usually dictated by ego. So similarly, we engage in many actions which are dictated by lust, by anger, by greed, by attachment. And all these actions, whether it is the act of thought, of word, or it is something that you do with the body, with the organs, Baba says all these actions, they rob you of your purity, your spirituality, your divinity. And when that happens, when the soul becomes impure, then the mind, the buddhi, the sanskars, they all become impure, because they are all aspects of the soul. So Baba says when this purity is lost because of this karma, then just like Baba said that your intellect becomes stone intellect. So it is because of our karma that we keep losing our spiritual strength, our aura, our light, and then we become impure, and then our intellect becomes stone intellect or impure intellect. And what does the intellect do? The intellect discerns and decides. The intellect focuses. So then our concentration is lost. Then our discernment and decision making is lost. So all the intuitive capacities to discern atmospheres and situations and decide solutions, all that is lost in the soul. And then the decisions that we take are again bad decisions, and they result in further loss. So Baba says when you do this karma of hurting someone through your words under the influence of ego, or you do any karma which is dictated by vices, and that karma then spoils your purity, you become impure, then your intellect loses its functionality. Your intellect that is capable of discernment and decision making loses its functionality, and then you do karma repeatedly. You do karma which goes against your conscience, which goes against your spiritual metal, and then that karma makes you lose your fortune. Now today Baba in the essence says that everyone's fortune is spoiled because everyone is impure. And Baba tells that there is a connection between impurity, intellect, and fortune. So when there is impurity, then the intellect doesn't function. And when the intellect doesn't function, then we make bad decisions and we think, speak, and act in a manner which makes us lose our fortune. Because what is life? Life is it's a process through, life is just an amalgamation of our decisions. So if you look at life, life is made of the decisions we take from moment to moment, time to time. And it is the intellect that makes us make good decisions. And when there is impurity, the intellect is non-functional, dysfunctional. And when the intellect is dysfunctional, then our very decisions spoil our fortune, or they make our life miserable. So Baba says your discernment and decision making power is lost. So this is why Baba says, if you keep doing karma dictated by vices, dictated by body consciousness, dictated by feelings, dictated by hormones, dictated by what you have learned and how you have grown up, then what happens is those are all dictates of Ravan, and Ravan is teaching us how to spoil our fortune. So this is why Baba says you now have to follow shrimat, because if we don't follow shrimat, if we don't do everything as dictated by Baba, if we don't surrender to Baba completely, if we don't allow Baba to tell us everything and guide every one of our actions. Now, how does Baba guide? So, through the Murli, Baba is telling us the method to do everything. Baba is giving us the time to wake up, the way to wake up, what to think, how to think, who to remember, how to see, yes, how to hear, how to speak, what to eat, how to dress, how to walk, how to engage in action and interaction, what to do, what not to do. Baba is telling us everything in the Murli. And Baba says that if you don't follow Shrimat, then what you're following is Ravan Mat. And if you follow Ravan Mat, you will slowly make your intellect stone intellect. Because the moment you perform actions dictated by vices, your intellect is losing functionality. So Baba says, now you don't have a conscience in place right now. So you don't have somebody within you who will tell you what to do and what not to do. So you have to trust me, that I am Baba, I am your father, and you have to hold my hand, and my hand is Shrimat. So don't do anything, however much you feel like doing it, whether your body is pulling you in that direction, whether your senses are pulling you in that direction, whether your mind is going crazy or your relationships are asking you to do it. You just have to stick to doing what I tell you to do and the way I tell you to do it. So you have to wake up at Amrit Vela, you have to sleep on time, you have to eat pure food, you have to not speak bitter, you have to not listen to those who defame others. Baba is giving us Shrimat every day. You have to follow celibacy. And Baba says, if you follow Shrimat, so just like by following Ravan Mat, your intellect became a stone intellect. By following shrimat, the functionality of your intellect will be restored, and then you will be able to do karma, which will reinstate you, in your earlier glory. And Baba says, all that you lost will be found again. But now you have to surrender your man, buddhi, your body, everything to me. You don't have to follow what your mind says, what your sanskars dictate, or what your sense organs guide you to do. You have to just listen to me and do everything according to me. And Baba says, my title is, my mahima or my praise is that I am the one who sets everything right. So in Hindi it is called Bigdi ko banane wala. So Baba says, I am the innocent Lord Bholanath who sets everything right when you mess up everything. So Baba says, how do I set everything right? I give you directions about everything, how to do, what to do, when to do, everything I am giving you the directions about. But you have to surrender to me and you have to just do as I say. And when you do that, then your fortune will be restored, or all that has gone wrong will be set right, or all that you have lost will be recovered. So this will happen. And then today Baba says that I am your father and I am innocent like a father. And Baba says, first of all, you must have faith that this is my father. You must have faith in this relationship that you have with me, that of a father and child. So you see that when we are born physically and there is a physical birth, then nature knows that the child is not capable of taking care of himself. So there is a set of parents that are given to us, physical parents, and those physical parents we surrender to, and then they make us capable of fending for ourselves. So they feed us, clothe us, send us to school and do everything, and then they physically enable us to fend for ourselves. So they are physical parents, they give us physical capacity. And why are we given those parents? Because nature knows that we are not capable of taking physical care of ourselves. We cannot earn and cook food and buy clothes for ourselves when we are little. So we are given a set of parents which do that for us. And then when we are physically capable, then we have a different relationship with those parents. Now Baba says, I am your spiritual parent. And just like that physical parent is given to you by the design of the universe, I am your spiritual parent by the design of this universe. And when you become very vulnerable, when you become very weak, when you, the soul, are not able to take care of yourself, when you, the soul, have become so weak under the influence of Ravan that you cannot make decisions, you cannot think right, you don't have any proper sanskar in place, when you have lost all your purity power, at that time the universe assigns me to you. And I am your parent, I am the parent of the soul, and I come and take that responsibility. I adopt you through Brahma Baba, and I take this responsibility to restore you to good spiritual health again, to make you capable again. Now, Baba tells this to us, and we must understand that just like a parent, just like a physical child has to surrender to a physical parent so that the parent can fill him with physical strength and make him physically capable, I have to have faith that this is my Baba, this is the parent of the soul. Because you see, even though we have had 84 sets of physical parents, still we are begging for peace, love, happiness, purity, knowledge. We have been singing, in aartis that show me the path, I don't have direction, I don't know what to do. So we have been begging for knowledge, we've been begging for directions, we've been begging for purity, peace, because physical parents are not capable of giving that to us. So Baba says, I am that spiritual father, and I am here, and you have been calling out to me despite having so many physical parents. And also even though the physical father gives you, physical sustenance and also gives you wealth and property, he cannot give you what the soul needs and seeks. So I am here, but just like you have to surrender, give in to physical parents, you have to surrender to Baba. And Baba says, just like you trust your physical father and give your hand, and you trust that he will take you in the right place and do everything that's right for you, give me your hand of the buddhi and do as I say. Just follow shrimat, and then everything that you had lost will come back to you. So everything that you lost will be regained, and all your fortune will come back to you, but you have to trust me. And then Baba says that this is a very unique phase in the drama where the spiritual father comes and adopts the spiritual mother first. The spiritual mother is Brahma Baba, and then they create children through adoption, and then they make them spiritually capable and then give them the property of heaven. So Baba says this is a very unique act of God in drama, where God the Father comes and enters the body of Brahma Baba the mother, and then together they create us, the children, and we are the mouth born children. So through Brahma Baba's mouth we are created, and then Baba adopts the soul, teaches the soul, sustains the soul, and through this sustenance we again become powerful. Again the soul is in good spiritual strength. Again the mind, intellect and sanskar come into harmony, they become functional, and then again we are restored to our fortune of heaven. So this is something that Baba says. And then today Baba is talking about astrology also. And there are many children who go to astrologers and they ask whether I have it is called dasha, and in English it is called omens, and whether there is Shani ki dasha or there is Brihaspati ki dasha, or whether there are omens or Jupiter or Saturn on us. And Baba says, okay, those are limited omens. Okay, sometimes there is a bad omen, sometimes there is a good omen. But Baba says, in a very unlimited sense, the whole world is going through omens of Saturn right now. And this whole world has Rahu ki Dasha right now, which is considered to be a very bad omen. And you know, when there are bad omens, you are asked to donate. So when you go to an astrologer, he will tell you that you are having bad omens, so you donate. And when you donate, then these omens will change. Now Baba says, here it is the unlimited bad omen of Saturn on the whole world. And Baba says, now you donate. Donate the 5 vices. And when you donate the 5 vices, then the omens of the world will change. And there will be Brahaspati ki Dasha, the good omen on the whole world. And Baba says, it is imperative that we donate the 5 vices, because if we don't, then this eclipse, this bad omen cannot be removed. So Baba says the whole world is eclipsed by the omens of Rahu. The whole world has become ugly. The golden aged world was gradually eclipsed, and the degrees continued to decrease, and it has now become the iron aged world. The Father now says, make a donation and the eclipse will be removed. You have to conquer Maya Ravan with the power of yoga. Vices are donated so that the omens are removed and you become full of all virtues. This is a matter of the unlimited. And then, just like Baba spoke about, not speaking bitter words in the beginning of the Murli, Baba also gives us a very concrete direction about what to not hear. And Baba says, you must consider someone who defames others as your enemy. And what do you do with an enemy? You are very aware in their presence. You do not put your guard down. So Baba says, there are souls around you who have this habit of defaming everyone. Do you know any such soul? Whenever they speak, they open their mouth, they will talk ill about somebody. They will point out their weaknesses, they will point out what's wrong with them, they will point out their flaws, and they are so good at it, sometimes they will really camouflage it. And it will look like they are talking something which is very useful for you. But Baba says this is a sanskar. And I would like everybody to check whether this is a sanskar in me, because sometimes, it is very difficult to discern what sanskar you have. Maybe you have this sanskar that whenever I speak, I put somebody down and I talk about their weaknesses and what's wrong about them, because I have lack of self-esteem. So I keep doing that so that I feel better about myself. So you check whether this is a sanskar with you, because if this is a sanskar in me, then I am my own enemy. And then I have to be very wary of myself. And if this is not a sanskar with me, then it is a sanskar with someone who is around me, and somebody who is all the time, in and around me, then I have to be very wary to not listen to them. Because, It is very subtle, but it is said company colors. And whenever you are in the company of souls who are talking ill about others, however much you think that you know the truth and you're not getting influenced, you are getting influenced. If somebody is talking ill about another person all day, then even if you keep up your sanity and you are always trying to understand that this person has this sanskar, still words have an influence, and somewhere or the other they are shaping your thought process and your opinion about them and your perception about them. So this is why Baba says you should refrain from the company of those who defame others, because it is said that if a small ant enters the ear of an elephant, then the elephant goes wild. And listening to the weaknesses and flaws of others is like that. And even if somebody is all the time talking ill about the yagya or talking ill about Baba, even that also has an influence. So even though we would think that I am wise enough and I'm taking the right call, if you keep listening to those who defame others, words have an influence. And this is why Baba says you must be very careful to not listen to those who defame others. And Baba says that some people have the habit of defaming others. Such ones never say anything good about anyone that could benefit him. And Baba says never keep the company of or listen to such ones, and consider them to be your enemy. Be very alert, very aware in their presence, and just don't listen to them. And then Baba says, what should you do? You should always donate jewels from your mouth. So, always listen to Baba's jewels and always donate jewels from your mouth, jewels of knowledge. Because Baba says, this is your role in Sangam Yuga. Speaking bitter is a thing of the past. Hearing to defamation is a thing of the past. Now I only have to listen to jewels and speak jewels of knowledge. But just remember, whatever you listen to is what you will think about, and whatever you think about is what you will speak. So if you don't listen to knowledge all day, or if you don't churn on Baba's teachings all day, then you will inevitably speak from your old sanskar. So this is why if you want to change what you speak, you have to change what you listen and think about. Okay?